Hello everyone, and welcome back to Wargame Red Dragon. Today we have a 2v2. I'm playing as the Eastern Bloc, or no, just East Germany. And my buddy as well is playing as East Germany, so both of us playing the same, well, not the same deck, but certainly the same nation. And we're playing against here, I believe it's the Americans and the French with Vimes and Lowing. So this map has always given me some trouble, and I'm trying a couple new things here. My intention is to cross the bridge early on and see if I can disrupt my opponents there, because from my experience, attacking from this side of the field, trying to go across those bridges is very, very difficult in the late game. But my friend Woggle was trying to take Dimitri right off the bat, and unfortunately we've encountered the French Air Force. So, Gazelle is firing in, and, oh, yep, there it is. Both paratroopers are down. We have a DHS Mi-24P that's firing back, but it's not enough. Only 4 AA missiles there and a couple kills, but really just, taking down escorts at that point. I think there was a scout helicopter that was killed, but now there are infantry in these towns, and, well, Wogel's infantry will be a little bit too late. We also have going on over here, my own paratroopers are being dropped off in Elena. I also have a scout helicopter pushing toward Fetter, so we get excellent vision on that rear reinforcement section, but the Tiger Hap here on the western side is just ripping apart the Schützen and their SPW transports, rocket pods going in and doing absolutely devastating work as FJB touch down here in the east. AA missiles immediately going off and killing the scout helicopter there, taking down the transport as well. Not able to kill the command infantry in that section, but getting pretty close. And I've crossed the river into Fetter in, well, in apparent force, but this is the trick, and I'll pause here just to show a little bit. Most of my force is moving up toward Elena. I want to secure this bridgehead, see if I can push across, and I also need to capture Constantine, Yacht, and Cheriton. So I have to do all of those three things, and I'm really just attempting to disrupt my opponent as best as I can. So we fight and kill some of the Recce here, a little bit of an odd placement for the sniper team on their own side of the field. We also have the Mi-8Ts firing in at the approaching... Oh, not USA, sorry, this was, I believe, a Commonwealth deck then. Reserve Schützen were in these SPWs, and they're just hoping to take this forest and hold it until I can establish myself on this side of the river and push across. So my hope is to scare off the Commonwealth, be a big spiky porcupine, and all of that. In the meantime, Woggle is really struggling. This second, well, this sort of retreat position over the western woods was completely cut off by the French, by Lowing, with that excellent AMX placement, but the FJB just going to town. So we've killed a couple warriors, we've killed the Fusiliers that are in them, using 4 of those anti-tank missiles so far, and it's not stopping there. The Fusiliers are stunned, FJB continuing just to rail in with their primary weapon. No tertiary here even firing, no squad machine gun or anything like that, but more infantry coming up, and at this point the Commonwealth is just sort of panicking, bull rushing everything toward the front. There's even a tracked rapier that manages to get up on top of that plateau and promptly goes down. So FJB worth their weight in gold here, but they are slowly losing their number. There's only 14 of them left, and I mean, they're only fighting territorial, so it could be that they'll survive. We'll have to see. I have to take a look over here on the left again. ATGM Milan team shooting in. Fleck SFL does pretty good work there, and that Entendeur is going to be shot down in mid-flight. We also have MiG coming in and bombing the absolute crap out of these Fusiliers here, and I'm feeling pretty confident. So my FJB get railed on by a Chieftain Marksman, and these guys are so effective at killing infantry, it's terrifying. Plus the FJB no longer have any anti-tank rounds left to shoot, so a little bit of a lost cause there. I should have reinforced at that point. I should have sent more. Well, I already should have sent more. It's a couple minutes in. I should have immediately sent more paratroopers this way as soon as the FJB found a foothold, but I expected them to be killed to the last man, basically. So instead, I have moved up across this bridge. I have SPWs and Motschützen moving up, bringing more reinforcements in as well, as I do cap Constantine. Scout vehicles moving forward. We have some helicopters as well, taking up a bit of more of a defensive position than I should have gone with. My attempt here is to secure this side of the bridgehead, use that as a leveraging point to threaten Elena and Fetter, as my ally hopefully can battle for Dimitri. but things aren't looking so hot thus far, and the reserve Schutzen are finally going down, but taking an absolutely huge amount of time doing it, and the FJB are finally killed by a combination of the Chieftain and Stormer. So I have lost my foothold in Elena. I didn't move up because I figured the Chieftain would kill these SPWs. I mean, just the armor, the frontal armor on that thing wouldn't be able to get through it, so that is why there were no reinforcements directly in at that point. But the DHS, I mean, you can't really attack into anti-air like that either. It was the worst possible unit that could have been there at that time. Another bombing run coming in and wrecking more Fusiliers as the Commonwealth take an absolute pounding. They lost a lot more than I thought at the time, right? Because when you're playing, you don't have the benefit of hindsight. You don't have the benefit of being able to look over the whole field and not actively give orders. So I was looking over here on the western side as well. I saw that my ally was really struggling. I saw we were losing Dmitri. I felt certainly like the better thing for me to do would be to make sure that we have as tight of a hold as we can on this sort of area. That's why you see a lot of Strela 10Ms. We also have Fostas as backups. These guys are relatively cheap, 30 points each, but 12 Igla 1s is pretty good when your opponents are going to bring in something like Lynx AH7. Not spam, but certainly, I mean, sending those guys out at any point in time is certainly a challenge. And we are ticking at a +2, so our opponents were able to get up to 80 points by securing Boris and Elena early on. But we have now capped Constantine and Cheriton, and I believe, yes, there is a command vehicle headed over toward Jot as well. Slight miscommunication between me and my ally here. We both call one into Jot, which is a bunch of wasted points, but I'm spending those as quickly as they're coming out. So I think these KPZs were my last points in my barrel. I have 0 left unspent, so they're coming forward, but we have what we have here, and this Chieftain Marksman, oddly enough, runs out of ammunition right there. So he stops shooting, he's out of ammunition, but the SPWs are still closing, because even this close, they cannot pierce that frontal armor, which is just truly terrifying. Stalwarts coming up as infantry reinforcements do come in from the Commonwealth player, and my ally here over in the west has, well, attacked and succeeded at pushing out the French from the western woods. Conqueror's team making good use there of their long-range capabilities, and the SPWs do actually manage to surprise and kill a fair number of the Gurkhas, but Stormer up on the high ground, these guys are excellent because they can target air, and ground makes them absolutely terrifying. The Gurkhas' own weapons opening up there as well, and my Motschützen are no match for Gurkhas, particularly not when the Gurkhas are supported by Lynx 20mm as well. LSCR should have been across the bridge. I put too much of an emphasis on defending myself, so part of the reason for that is one of the last times I lost on this map is because I wasn't able to hold this corner. So the same player, actually, Vimes, who's playing Commonwealth, was at that point playing, I believe, Eastern Bloc, and just kept attacking and kept attacking, and I lost this forest, I lost Jot, and we lost the match. Motschützen unfortunately missed both of their RPGs, actually all 3, and finally managed to kill that Stormer, but it's too little too late, and the support from those helicopters themselves, just 30 apiece, is going to be able to take down my Motschützen, and I've lost my foothold on the far side of the river. In the meantime, we have a seaplane coming in. I believe he didn't get anything that time, because Wool was actually really nice at turning off his flat comms, but bit of an infantry push coming in, easy for me to say, and it's going to prove to be enough, I think, just because, I mean, it's not exactly a complicated push, but you don't need complication if you have overwhelming firepower, and AMX 10Ps with their F1 autocannons are able to put down some pretty good fire, so you can see already there's damage coming in, the SPWs were killed, and the moving up IFVs aren't enough. So I do send in a bomber of MiG-17, and let's see that quad stack of chasseurs. Oof. Gotta love it when that happens. So the chasseurs themselves, always a bit of an interesting unit here. They have a very nice Alrak F1 anti-tank weapon, but they're only regular training and 15 points. I mean, it's pretty cheap, but they're not exactly the most capable. We have more bombs coming in, and that other part of the push that otherwise would have been so successful is pretty well wiped out. If not for the AMX Brennus coming up behind, this would be sort of a well-held position. And as it is, it certainly cost the French. This bombing run should have come in much sooner. There should have probably been smoke as well, and there wasn't, so the French paid the price. Now, as we can see, the Eastern Germans, led by Wogel, are sort of running out of steam in this pocket, and Chasseurs will be able to kill a Conqueror's team, well, if they even had to, with the bonus tank shot does that for them, and Letzerschützen, Moschützen, that badly damaged, won't be able to hold that position. So, looking back at the battlefield now, the KHS did engage, got a couple kills here. I believe we took out Centurion Marksman, as well as the one that we can see on that side. Still existing, and I have scouts all around. I'm wary of getting attacked by helicopters because that is Wogel's, not Wogel, Lowing's mode of, well, favored activity, I suppose. Seedplane coming in, and this guy is supposedly decent. 90 points, 4,900 meter range isn't phenomenal, but I see the Centurion there. One missile goes in and misses, other missile goes in and misses, and let's see. Critical incendiary, down goes the plane. So I sent in a seed plane. I tried to have him evac toward my own zone, and yeah, we didn't get it. So the Centurion's still there, got the kill, basically fed him a seed plane for no reason. Chasseurs and Abrunus taking the western woods away from my ally. And now we do have some artillery coming in, cluster artillery. Now this will kill helicopters, so there were helicopters that were hovering low here, probably just the ones that they rode in on. But they get taken out very, very effectively from that cluster artillery. It's always something to keep in mind when you are firing that is, well, aim for helicopters hanging low. We have now some reinforcement trucks coming in, and the KPZs are proving their worth against Abrunus, taking him out very efficiently. That's actually very point cost efficient as well. We are taking some fire from the woods here, but between the KPZs and SPWs, I'm feeling okay. I usually don't double stack tanks, but these guys at 55 points, and particularly against the French firepower, they do need a little bit of help. Now let's see if they can make short work of that AMX. Swing and a miss, but the second one connects, and there it is. That's really why I have them double stacked. I tend to notice when I have only one of those 55 point KPZs, they'll shoot and miss 3 times in a row. But the time to kill is significantly reduced by having them take more shots, and, well, we do that by having a second gun. So I have been watching as my opponent puts a lot of eggs in this one basket. That will come back to be relevant later on, so keep that in mind. As the HLVW, I believe it's a 30 point, maybe a 40 point resupply vehicle, comes in. Now I have lost my helicopters, and this is just the Centurion Marksman getting to his position on that side of the field. A bit of lazy play on my part, I didn't notice. I sort of got distracted looking at all the things I was telling you guys, but if you recall, and if you rewind a little bit and take a look, we lost about 250 or so points in helicopters that I had intended to be a defense in that region, which they were too far forward. It's my fault. It happens sometimes. I didn't think that his AA would have that sort of range, and it did. So live and learn, unfortunately. We do also have howitzer shells coming in, and this is sort of not the way to attack a town. It's very easy and tempting to do when you're first learning the game, and it's a hard habit to break should you fall into it. So I've certainly done it myself, and I understand why it's done, but those howitzers are not generally super effective at killing things in towns. Sure, they'll injure them, but now you can see me actually asking if we should coordinate a push here on Dimitri and me bridge. I'm excellent at grammar, which I don't even think that sentence has proper grammar either. But the important thing is that we are now losing the match. Our opponents were able to catch up to us and get a +1 by securing Dimitri, and we need to take it from them. So lots of KPZs, 55 point tanks again, used in double stacks being pushed across the outside here, and this is certainly an avenue to explore because basically the idea of a push on that side of the map is you go around. There aren't a lot of ways to put up excellent defenses on this side. It's pretty much all going to be concentrated in that western wood, and it's about to get cluster artillery. And we can see, yep, a couple explosions, a couple things damaged, as well as the ones that were killed, and that's pretty well peppered there, so anything that had armor is going to be knocked out pretty quickly, and we have, unfortunately, not the best coordination, infantry running out a little bit ahead of the tank support and helicopter support, but the idea is you attack here, you get into this wood, and you use it to attack the bridge and Dimitri. Unfortunately, I didn't actually get, well, to the point where I was able to coordinate a good push there, and I do lose a relatively expensive radar AA piece to that seaplane. So a bit of sloppy play again on my part, but I am trying to cross the bridge now with a couple tanks, and I mean, it kind of works, right? So we get a recon vehicle across the bridge, unfortunately dies to a lynx, but we take out a tracked rapier, and my intention is just to get into these woods, clear out everything that might be in there. Bomber coming in as well, leading the way. Does get shot and shot down by AA piece in there, and here's the thing. Even if we didn't get kills, we stunned a lot of things that were in there. We panicked them. They're not going to be shooting with great accuracy. We can see all of those shots that were coming in from this other group, and that's the first one to... No, none of them have hit yet. Not a single one. That's 8 shots. Not a single one is hit. Granted, they're territorials, but I didn't know that. I had seen him using Fusiliers earlier, and Fusiliers would be absolutely deadly to those KPZs. Now we do have a Kahu coming in, and this is going to be a problem because a Kahu is basically like a Peace Rhine in terms of its anti-tank capabilities. It doesn't have the tertiary, but he does turn back, and he turns back because my MiG-29 is coming in. 1 missile, 2 missiles on the way, only 1 hit, and the Kahu does get out. But it saved our KPZs, at least for the moment. Now there are ATGMs coming in from a western position here. I can't really tell what that is at the moment, but it turned out to be an ATGM vehicle, I believe. Yep, ATGM vehicle, and it's killed by the ATGMs off the KPZ, so that works pretty well. We get too close to the town, and there goes one, so the other one's just going into the woods here, trying to see what I can find. He does get caught up. There's Gurkhas here, there's probably Gurkhas there as well, which is not exactly ideal. In the meantime, my friend's push over here in the western side has been very successful. He has secured the woods, he has been moving up his KPZs, now taking on the Serval mortars from the French and getting some nice kills there. Tiger Hap and a Gazelle do block his way, but a Hap is the wrong choice. That's the AA version, not the AT version. And my tank does go down over here in the east after getting a couple kills. I think we killed the Centurion actually. So an AA piece going down there, and it has showed us a Challenger 2. 170 point British tank, and very deadly. Deadlier than anything I could really go toe-to-toe with on the ground. Playing as Eastern Bloc the way that I built my deck, which, you know, I don't tend to favor those sorts of tanks. I'm playing East Germany, not Eastern Bloc, just because I think they tend to underperform, particularly when compared to some Blue 4 options like the Challenger 2. And he's just headed right into these woods. I mean, this is the same player who leveraged this against me before, so I'm not entirely surprised. Su-22M4 does come in, and that is my version of an ATGM plane, but mine does get shot down. And now we can see, you know, the beginning of this game was really good for me in terms of getting off the ground with a decent kill-to-death ratio, but it has since sort of turned around. For some reason, whenever I get into this particular map, I really struggle doing anything on the offensive, which is not my usual want. Usually I'm decently good at doing that, at least with our group, but on this map I really struggle. I have brought out Tunchas. Now this is not exactly recommended ranked play because, you know, 8 mortars all at once is well, it's a sign of a couple of things. One, that you're not spending your points out efficiently. 2, that you're asking for cluster artillery counterfire, which, you know, I would rather not have to deal with. But I brought them out. I figured why not, and they are going to start pounding everything on my opponent's side of the field. In the meantime, though, time is ticking down, so we have 19 minutes left. Our opponents have been still getting a +1. They're now double our points at 203 compared to our 96. Here come the mortars. I'm trying to kill infantry. I'm trying to stun things to just make my opponent's life unpleasant, and I do believe they get a couple kills, so we'll have to take a look at that later on after the match is over. Kahu coming in, Mirage coming in, and the air support out of the French player has absolutely decimated what was once a successful push here, and in part that's because there wasn't sufficient AA support. This FLA SFL 256 was too far back. There should have been another one, probably should have parked itself right in these woods here, and maybe even moved up a little bit, and that would have at least gotten some revenge for those absolutely devastating plane runs that have been coming in again and again and again. And now we have a bit of a lull in the sort of mid part of the match, but I am laying down smoke, and oh, never mind. This game, man, the coordination was not exactly what it needed to have been. So I am desperation smoking this entire town, and Dmitry, as my ally here, is moving SPWs across the bridge, trying to get infantry into position. My own infantry for this push was still on the way, so I I told him I was preparing, and well, then probably my fault with the communication issue. Bombing runs on the way as well, and certainly a lot of damage is being done to those towns. But we see it's not quite enough to get kills there. Well, to wipe them out, because there is still AA fire coming in. MiG-29 does go in after that Kahu, and this time we do get him. So these planes, some of my favorites, are proving their worth. Infantry has been disembarked relatively close to the town, but fire coming in from AMXs and infantry entrenched in towns themselves is proving to be a little bit difficult to deal with. We do, however, spot the P4PC. I do ping it there with an attack marker, so we found the command vehicle. We've also found a Challenger 2 that's about to show my KPZs why engaging is a really bad decision. So each of those ATGMs, 17 AP power is insufficient to get through that front armor, but because it's high explosive anti-tank, it will always deal 1 point of damage on a hit, which I don't even manage to get. So an Entendre coming in, and this is a very sad day because those Letze Schützen probably should have been moving toward those towns, and here comes the Entendre and the bombs. Bombs coming in from East Germany as well, and just lots of explosions everywhere. The Legion, however, in towns can relatively well take that sort of punishment, but the Letze Schützen were, it wasn't the best bombing run, but it certainly wasn't fun. In the meantime, I've gotten my own FJB up here in SPWs, trying to get into the woods here, well, not the woods, trying to get into the town, and most importantly, I'm trying to bring the FJB's Strelas online to prevent paratrooper reinforcements to Dmitry as we make this push. More SPWs, this time mine, moving across the bridge, but Tiger Hads and Tiger Haps are going to take those apart in short order. So one missile does come in, and we should see a disembark here, but missile pods coming in as well, and I'm a little bit late on the draw, so my SPWs do get quickly destroyed. All the Motschützen dying. Good news is they're relatively cheap, but there's a difference between relatively cheap and doesn't cost anything. So FJB are able to move up. They're not really engaging much. Most of the infantry that was defending this town was killed from the blue force side of things. So we have some Commandos Para, we have a VLRA, but the Commandos Para, they're chasing FJB. I'm just moving these guys, bringing in more reinforcements across the bridge and maintaining that field of smoke, as there hasn't yet been enough counterfire to force me to move those mortars out of their previous positions. The FJB, I believe, have gotten a couple kills, but the bombing run there was pretty devastating. There are 3 of them left, so let's see what they can do. Strela's opening up, and we have some Lynxes incoming, just fire support helicopters from the Commonwealth player. Let's see, please, and no missiles on the way. We actually lose line of sight, and the smoke is still insufficient. We should have both been smoking. I should have been also focusing more on the approach on the western side as well. But I do manage to get some Motschützen here. We've shot down one of the Lynxes with the FJB. Second bombing run comes in from an Entendre. I switch, and we dodge it, which was absolutely exhilarating at the time. The FJB opening up on the Lynx here as well with their oh no, it's the Motschützen with their primary and tertiary weapons. I also do manually target that resupply vehicle, and my ally has gotten Motschützen across the bridge as well. We're really giving them a fight. So, well, to quote that movie that I enjoy a little too much, this is... Oh, what's the quote? This is, well, shit, now I've ruined it. Anyway, FJB are getting absolutely torn apart. Vab's coming in. It's going to be a little bit too much with the Legion in the towns as well, and we don't have enough right now to hold this. The Blue 4 forces are more than enough to fight back and deny us the town just through, well, at this point, attrition. Bombs coming in kill the FJB, and bombs of our own are targeting the new Legion, wiping them out completely, leaving the last men standing in this entire town as one Motschützen and one Legion. I don't even mean a single squad, one individual out of the full strength 10 Motschützen, and one individual out of the full strength 10 Legion 90. So 2 men survive out of all of that. Absolute carnage. Evac Winchester from a MiG-17, but a little bit too late, and a Rafale does come in, take him out. Additionally, the bombing run was kind of in the wrong position. I think he might have been trying to fend off reinforcements crossing the bridge, but we didn't really have eyes on anything, so it was a little hard to say what was going on. In the meantime, other fields of the battlefield have been pretty much abandoned as we're desperately scrabbling over the centerpiece. So Dmitry is the prize. It does give that +1 at the moment. That would be just the thing to put you over the edge from being at this tied +0/+0. It doesn't involve crossing a river across hostile grounds in Feder or into Elena. I mean, kind of, but not really. And now we have paratroopers coming in, but 1 unit of Legion stands between them and their goal. Also a mission coming in, missile coming in from the Rafale, but those rocket pods are able to open up and stun some of the territorials being sent in by the blue players. Unfortunately, one plane does go down, more smoke popping down as well. Somehow the LSTR survive. I think it's because the disembark was technically finished before the helicopter crashed. A little bit of cheese there, or just a glitch, shall we say. But two groups of LSTR, 35-point absolute chads here, landing in this town and preparing to fight for their lives. We also have lots of aerial combat going on, a MiG coming in after an F-111C, Rafales coming in to answer, Kahu's coming in to take out some of these troops that I'm sending up this way, but I've had it. I am done messing about. This is as many troops as I can possibly send forward. I think most of them are either militia or 10-point infantry, but I just want numbers because the special forces approach was not working, and their force path right through. You can shoot them. I don't really care. Yeah, reserve shoots in coming in, more reserve shoots in, more reserve shoots in, and just drowning the Fusiliers in bodies. Now it is weak to bombing runs, and we do see that as we get absolutely hammered on that one side, but that's all they had available at the time because the rest was refitting, refueling, and being repaired off screen. So reserve shoots in fighting territorials, reserve shoots in fighting Fusiliers, LSTR fighting Gurkhas, and what's bound to be a losing battle. And now, hidden amongst all of these reserve shoots and the last men to come in are reinforcement FJB from my own reserves. So they do secure that town. We are fighting off the Gurkhas as well as we possibly can. Missiles coming in at the electric voodoo, and can we take it down as one? And ooh, nope, it does get off map. So unfortunate for us in that regard, but at least we're clearing out some of the other helicopters, and the tide is beginning to turn. The issue is there's only 10 minutes left. So we are finally starting to secure this town. We're finally being able to really keep the French and the Commonwealth from being able to get in here, and it's just a bloody, grindy fight. But it's one that, we might actually win, which is good enough for me. Another MiG-29 coming in, taking out a Mirage bomber that was on its way to deliver some pain to our forces. And Entendeur does unfortunately get evac Winchester. Let's watch the bombs come down if we can. And where'd they go? I have no idea. Maybe it failed to actually fire. In the meantime, we have a near miss by our own bombers. Really unfortunate. It would have been very nice to kill those Legion before they crossed the bridge. And another thing, that cluster artillery just a moment ago, not very effective. It will panic infantry, but it's not enough to kill them. And our own bombing run there just absolutely wipes off the map all of those reservists and French Legion that were crossing the bridge on foot. So absolutely devastating bombing run there. I'm going to have to come up with a different word than absolutely for the next one, but for right now, I'm really feeling it. So Gurkhas finally dying to FJB, Gurkhas failing to get into this town as well, and reserve shoots in of all things firing across the bridge. F-111C does come in, and that bombing run is devastating. Reserve shoots in destroyed, some of my allies, LSTR, very high-end troops destroyed, and just more Kahus and Jaguars coming in. Our MiGs being cycled as quickly as they possibly can, but those Kahus have great ECM, and they're able to get out. Let's see if the Jaguar, nope, one hit, but the second one not quite making it, and the MiG is getting out as well, as there is something big, mean, and scary in Feder that was shooting at it. So that solid grip that we had is a little bit shaky now, but some helicopters going up, trying to kill this Challenger 1 Mark III. We are additionally sending up Mi-24Ps up this way, trying to just provide that little bit of fire support that might possibly sway this in our favor. Reserve shoots in holding out remarkably well against some very panicked Gurkhas, and a resupply vehicle just plopping down, not giving any shits, right in the middle of this town, resupplying the FJB, resupplying reserve shoots, and getting more of those AA missiles on and ready to completely deny this Lynx AH-20 push, as well as the Tiger Hat, and I believe a Tiger Hat right next to it, that we're trying to come in and deal some damage here. So absolutely devastating to what remains of the Blue 4 forces, and we're finally able to relatively well call that zone our own. Let's go back to speed 2 here for just a minute. Only 7 minutes left in the match, and this is the problem. 252 points to 99. And yeah, we might well have fought them off of this zone. Even that's arguable with the amount of Gurkhas and Fusiliers left here, while our own reserve shoots in and FJB are pretty well worn down. But all of that is necessary before we can even call out a command vehicle, both of us spending our points furiously as soon as they arrive. DHS Mi-24P does get shot down, unfortunately. I was hunting for that Challenger 2. I don't really know why. I was thinking maybe if I could kill it, then opening up a second front in Feder would be able to at least distract our opponents from reinforcing Dmitry. Plus, Feder is more valuable at +2, so if I could kill it, maybe that would be worth something. But alas, no such luck. Bombing runs do finish off those Gurkhas, and now we have a whole other group coming in. Fortunately, though, they are outside of a town, and the FJB are going to tear them a new shitter, as they do try to get to the town there. So just 30 men, 19 men, 15 men, all of that, and finally I've gotten my mortars back online. They ran completely out of ammunition. I've had to resupply them a couple times here, just trying to stun and slow down the reinforcements coming in so that we can get just that little bit tighter of a hold on the situation. Plus, you know, any troops that they can kill are worth it at this point. So we do have the command vehicle coming in, the Führungs UAZ from my ally, more SPW moving up, and I nearly ran out of militia in this entire game, so they went to good use, I would say, very, very much to good use. But I'm beginning to get a little bit concerned, because even if we get a +1, we have 4 minutes left, and well, 5 minutes left in the game. It's not going to be enough for us to overcome that points difference. Even if we can maybe claim some sort of moral, I would have gotten you if the game had gone longer sort of victory here, which we did used to play without time limits, but I think the time limit does force a little bit better, more aggressive, less static play, as we've definitely seen this match. So Panzerjäger coming in, and these guys are, they're a little funky, so we're going to look at them real quick. 10 points, 5 strength. These guys are dedicated fire support. That means that those missiles, the RPG-7Vs, can fire at infantry as well as at armor, which is absolutely invaluable for this type of thing. So we can see them opening up and just completely devastating the men moving across the other bridge. Now the downside here is you will burn through those missiles relatively quickly, but I mean, we took care of the problem. We made sure that bombing run wasn't even that useful, and these guys tend to have a quicker rate of fire, 15 rounds per minute as opposed to 10, which means that they'll be very nice at dissuading infantry fighting vehicles as well. Führungs UAZ coming in, and another miscommunication here. Well, I brought in some command infantry. I thought that the Führungs UAZ was going to die and was just trying to make sure that we could hold this zone at all costs, and we do now have a +1, but we managed that with only 3 minutes left in the match. So let's go back a little bit to speed 2, as I hadn't meant to keep it on that, but time flies, and particularly when you are talking as quick as your mouth can run, which, you know, isn't all that quick for me, but I do my best. KPZ is moving up, and now we're finally getting direct fire on the enemy reinforcements, denying them even that ability to drive right up to the bridge before they have to drop their infantry and get on the way. Seaplane coming in, kills an Walnoir, but there's a Leclerc on the left now, which is going to be an absolute pain in the ass to deal with, as well as a Crotal. Very deadly pair, very capable, and I'm sending mortars in for whatever I can now. It's actually a little bit goofy. I think we do hit the CV in there, not right now, but a little bit later, and I'm moving KPZs around and through, trying to get a flank on the farther back part of Feder. Chesters were dropped off as soon as that fire just started coming in from the KPZs, but this isn't exactly that much better. SPWs and KPZs themselves tearing those Chesters apart, so we've already lost 1 out of the original 4, and they are down to half strength as well. Chieftain Marksman finally dying, but not before we lose another KHS 24P, and we have now a big bomber F-111C. I love these guys. 4,000 kilogram bombs. Let's watch that come in. 1, 2, 3, 4, and well, beautiful bombs. Not exactly great target selection, so all we lose is a single SPW-70. That's 15 points off that bombing run. Generally, you want your bombing runs to have the potential to pay themselves off quickly, because, well, if you lose the plane, it has to be worthwhile while it was there. So that was very much not that sort of thing. Granted, the plane got out, but that's really not the point of good target selection, as it were. We have well and truly secured Dmitry, with the exception of that single Leclerc. This is the wrong selection to try and kill it. Those bombs aren't really going to be able to do that much damage unless it's a completely direct hit. And yeah, they do 2 points of damage. Leclerc is alive with 1 single hit point left. Challenger 2 still not being able to us not being able to kill it even after all this time. And the Leclerc is able to shut down those Mochutsen and deny the entire side of that push. So there were about 4 or 5 units there that were just minced by Leclerc. KPZ does come up, and that little dot was Feder, flipping on and off as our mortars found that CV, forced him to move because of a little bit of fire in that backwoods section. It did tell me where he was, but we have a fuel leak. And I couldn't believe this while it was happening, but my KPZ ran out of fuel and was just sitting there on the battlefield, not able to do anything at all as the final seconds of the match wind down. We're at a +3, just a brief second, back to a +1 now, and we're unable to close the gap. So very well played, Divines and Lowing, both of my friends and opponents here in this match. Very well played to the French and the Commonwealth forces. Our loss, and deservedly so. Alright, in terms of kills and losses, we did actually come out on top in terms of KD, but most of that was at the very end when we finally were able to crush through that town and get some of their backline units, some of their other units there. I mean, there was a fair bit at the beginning as well over on my side of the map, so let's take a look at some of those units and how they did. Schreiber, with the FJB-40 that we let loose at the very beginning, just, racking up so many kills. Gazelles, CH-135s, FV-510 Warriors, Tracked Rapiers, Infantry with a Fusiliers, and these guys, I don't know why it does this, I think Schreiber and Wargame were both the same squad. It was just each individual unit in that squad, so all of these Warrior and Fusiliers kills were with the same group as the other FJB-40 here. Reserve Schutzen got a couple kills on some transports, not bad, not bad. MiG Bomber did pretty well, Chasseurs, Territorials, all of that. Any Reserve Schutzen kill, I mean, one of those Reserve Schutzen killing a Warrior pays for about 3 Reserve Schutzen, so the fact that 2 of them got that is very nice. SPW-80s getting a couple kills, not really expecting the most out of them, but we got what we could. Now, some of the tanks didn't pay for themselves very well. This is not nearly enough to pay for those KPZs, but that's why you use cheaper tanks to begin with, if you don't think you're going to be able to keep them alive for all that long. And I really didn't. I thought it was sufficient fire support. Kind of regret that, given how the game ended, but yeah, where they worked well, they worked very well, and I just need to refine my approach a little bit, maybe bring something heavier as a last resort. So, decent kills all around. I think if we look at the individual, 2895 to 2660 for me, so of course I was mostly fighting Vimes in the east at that point, until the end of the game where it was a bit of a combined push there, and Wobble with a very excellent 3355 to 2960, so moral victory, but tactical defeat, and very well played to my opponents. That's all we've got for today. Thank you all for hanging around. We'll see you again real soon.